Resident Evil 4 set the standard for what would be the over-the-shoulder fixed point of view. The game blended horror with action, but unlike its previous entries, it relied more on action than anything. So, take that formula 4 years later, change it up, and add a ton of unique takes on the genre, and EA would take the formula where Capcom could never: space. After all, in space, no one can hear you scream. The original Dead Space was a hit full of twists and jump scares. Taking the Resident Evil 4 formula, but making its own style, created one hell of a game. The protagonist didn't speak, and we don't officially see his face until the very end. And then there's the creepy, tight corridors where creatures could appear out anywhere, like the ventilation systems in the walls and ceiling, and around corners. Of course, what makes the game truly unique are the detachable limbs. Isaac can shoot at any of these limbs, the legs, arms, head, and tentacles, for the ultimate dismemberment, delaying the creature's attack, which allows the player to decide where to shoot next, and is extremely helpful in larger hordes. The series would spawn a second and third game among various comics, novels, spin-off games, and films, all acting as side stories and prequels to the main entries. While the main games did have positive reviews, poor sales of the more action-oriented third game prompted EA to can the series, without future interest in continuing, and series developer Visceral Games would be shut down in 2017, preventing a fourth entry from the original developers. Skip ahead to 2021, and EA is planning on announcing a revival of a beloved IP at their EA Play conference on July 22nd, 2021. At the time, it could mean Dead Space or a favorite series like SSX, Army of Two, or even Mirror's Edge. But soon after this announcement, a rumor, one that is probably true, broke out that EA Motive, the developers behind Star Wars Squadrons, is developing a reimagining of Dead Space. While not a remake of the original game, it's not the fourth title a lot of us have wanted for a while. Don't get me wrong, a reimagining can be great. Resident Evil 2 and 3 were more of a reimagining than a remake, and Tomb Raider reimagined its original game in 2007 with Tomb Raider Anniversary, all offering something new but familiar for players. But honestly, do we really need a reimagining of Dead Space? Now, as much as I'm excited to see Dead Space return, after all, EA seems to very slowly realize that people do miss the EA games of the 2000s and the early 2010s, and have since announced a fourth Skate game. I'm not too thrilled at the idea of a reimagining. It would be one thing if the series story was finished, but as it stands, Isaac Clarke's tale remains unfinished. Dead Space 3 isn't as beloved as the first two games, but I still found it enjoyable, and it dived further into what the Necromorph origins were. Plus, playing co-op with a partner was actually pretty fun. However, the problem lies with the main game ending in a cliffhanger, and the DLC story Awaken picking up from the cliffhanger ending to ending yet another cliffhanger. I don't think I have ever seen a much more frustrating way to finish a story. Sadly, Dead Space 3 didn't sell, and all we've had since was a possible Dead Space 4 story that would have been a bit more open to exploration and would have focused on Ellie, Isaac's girlfriend, though I'm sure Isaac and Carver would have returned. Even though the series is still owned by EA, handing off a series to a different developer can either result in an excellent game or a mediocre one. New techniques and mechanics and a fresh set of story ideas can come from this, and that's a beautiful thing. But sometimes a new developer can result in a game having the shell of its former self, but the characteristics and personality that made it memorable are gone. Look at Halo or Gears of War. Both were handed off to a new developer, and both have tried to take the series in a new direction. And while they may not be horrible, I tend to hear a lot of people not thrilled with them than when the series was at its highest. So it would make more sense for EA Modes to completely restart the Dead Space series and make it their own, rather than developing a fourth game that's disappointing. Now, EA might not have the best track record out there, but if there's one thing we can credit them on, is that they have learned from some of their past mistakes. The more recent release of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has proven that EA can release a single-player game without any microtransactions and find success. So, if the rumors are true, and let's face it, pretty much almost all game rumors or leaks are, should this reimagining be happening? Or do you think it'd be better for EA to bundle the three main games in the remaster set and then make a fourth game? We'll just have to find out July 22nd. Let me know what you think in the comments, and while you're at it, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.